Hello, and welcome to another series where I play Crusader Kings 3 using the hardest possible rule settings. Because I think the main draw of my content is these rule settings and what makes them unique compared to other CK3 YouTubers, and this is the first episode of this series, I do want to go through the game rules we'll be using. First, we'll be on Iron Man. So everything I do is permanent. I won't have the option to save the game and take one decision, see what turns out. If I don't like it, go back to the prior save game. Instead, whatever decisions I make, they turn out good or bad, we'll go forward. I'm sure over the course of this series, I will make mistakes, big and small. Where I do recognize them, I'll just have to play through them. And I will try to identify in episodes where I've made a mistake and where I and you in a similar circumstance should do something different. Also, now that I've started recording this video, I'm not going to restart it. If the video goes disastrously, I'll play landless, I'll do whatever to try to come back to rule a powerful realm. I'm not going to go through every single rule change. I will show them on screen. I do want to hit the ones that are most important for the difficulty of the game. One is playing difficulty on very hard. This gives a whole plethora of advantages to the AI. The AI makes more gold. Buildings are cheaper. Men-at-arms are cheaper. Mercenaries are cheaper. Activities are cheaper. AI vassals are much less likely to form factions or rebel against AI lieges. By contrast, for the player, mercenaries are more expensive. Hostile schemes are more difficult, get a reduction to their base chance of success. And AI vassals are much more likely to form factions and rebel against the player. Perhaps the most important difficulty changes are these three right here. We're going to be playing with increased conqueror frequency. All heirs will inherit the conqueror trait. Conqueror bonuses will be extreme, giving every single conqueror the scourge-of-the-gods trait, which gives them massive bonuses in terms of siege time, army movement speed, advantage, and other benefits. We'll be playing on Doomsday plague frequency with unlimited random black deaths. Many players may have never seen a black death if you play on normal settings, but here they're quite likely to pop up. We'll be playing with restrictions on legends, which means that I likely won't be able to use legends at all, or if at all, only at the very end of the game where I'm making very significant income to fund those more expensive legends. Playing on restricted diplomatic range, which makes finding good courtiers, good spouses for your heirs, all much more difficult. And then one of the most important changes is domain limit -3 to the player only. Especially with the recent changes to domain limit to make them based on education rather than stewardship, this really hurts the player's power. Domain is essential for your gold, levies, stationing regiments, and here we'll simply have many fewer domain counties than we otherwise would. Indeed, for many characters, if you were to start with this rule, you'd have a domain limit just of 1. We'll scroll through the rest of these. Generally not as impactful, but they all add up to make the game as difficult as possible. In terms of who we're going to be playing for this campaign, our fourth one, we'll be playing a truly iconic CK3 character, Duchess Matilda of Tuscany. Why are we playing her? Well, partly because she is so well known. She's a bookmark character in 1066, one of the legends of CK3, arguably the character that CK3 players are most familiar with. Maybe Hastings would take that title, but just a very well-known character. Second, I've talked about before, I plan on doing a series of these videos, tens, dozens, maybe even scores of them. And at the beginning, I want to start with easier characters. And I do think that Duchess Matilda, while she's not quite as easy as someone like Duke Vladislav Primsalid, who was the subject of our first series, she is relatively easy. She starts with a large county, large domain, I should say, large realm. She has a very good learning education. She has an abnormally large number of learning perks that give her benefits against other rulers. And she has some interesting, unique events. And so I think it all adds up to make for an interesting start. Oh, I should have mentioned one other point about the game rules. In addition to all those official game rules that are part of the CK3 program, there is one other rule I'll be following, which is that I will not become a conqueror. So if the decision to become a conqueror is offered to me, I will turn it down and go smell the daisies. If I become landless, I will not try to take the decision that allows me to become a conqueror. Reason for that is the conqueror trait is just too powerful, really reduces the difficulty of the game, and relatedly, if I could become a conqueror, then for virtually every ruler, the optimal strategy would be to become landless, take the decision to become a conqueror, and then fight whoever I wanted using the conqueror trait. Would make for very boring, repetitive videos for me, and I think also for you as a viewer. All that said, let's start as Duchess Matilda and take a look at her and her situation. Okay, so we immediately start with an event for Duchess Matilda before we even really get to take a good look at her stats or anything else. And I do think this is a quite interesting event because there's not necessarily a clear decision on what is the best option. We see here that we are betrothed, about to be married to Gottfried the Hunchback. Obviously, he has a negative physical appearance trait. He's hunchbacked. He has a bunch of, his stats are quite poor. He does have a couple of virtuous traits, but they're not really good ones, frankly. Honest is a overall loss in stats. And so he's just not a character that we would pick to be married to. I think he does give us a pretty good alliance, but that's about it. And so here, the question is, what are our options? We could simply murder him. That could lead to us having a secret, getting blackmailed. The AI seems to be very good at finding out your secrets and using them to blackmail you. So those could be problems. The secret could be exposed, giving us significant penalties, causing us to lose level of devotion. So that's all quite bad. We could simply sort of refuse to marry him. The problem there is really the marriage acceptance penalty. It would be extremely difficult for us to marry anyone else. The flip side of that, you can see there, the stewardship and domain taxes are amazing. Enough so that you almost wonder, is it worth taking this decision, marrying, probably a commoner, unlanded character who won't give us an alliance, and then having children that we could use for alliances and just playing tall until we have those children. As you can probably guess if you see my prior videos, we're probably going to be playing tall anyway. My overall strategy for Matilda, similar to other characters, on this level of difficulty, you really need to build up your domain counties by constructing buildings in them. Make sure you have strong gold income. Use that to build up and be able to maintain your military because you will need a large, powerful military just to take on regular AI characters at this level, and especially if you want to have any hope of eventually being able to fight against Scourge conquerors. So, I think this option is a good one. I'm going to seriously consider it. The domain tax is plus 20%. The steward, again, just very powerful in terms of gold generation, which is what we want to focus on early on. And then the question will just be, who will we find to marry us? We may have to marry a lowborn and take the legitimacy hit. So it becomes, quite challenging with that penalty. The third one, I think, is, in a sense, probably the safest option, the most conservative option. Spend 100 gold, spend 100 piety. We marry him matrilineally, meaning if we have any children, to be part of our dynasty. So that one I think works quite well. And then this last one, the obvious concern is if we have a child by him, and then somehow that child we die, that child is our heir, that will be an actual game over. And one thing you'll note about Gottfried is he's already in poor health, and that's not because he's injured or anything. He just has a very low health. So he's likely going to die within the first 3 or 4 years of playing, at least in my experience with prior runs using Matilda. And again, those runs were not recorded, so I'm not restarting it. This is the one run I'm going to be doing here for YouTube with my commentary that I'm doing for Matilda here. And so really, I think I've talked about before, I'm not a huge intrigue murder person because of the negatives I've talked about in terms of secrets and losing levels of devotion. So it's really between 2 and 3. And I think it's a genuinely difficult decision as to which one you do. The question is, do you take this one? Have a strong alliance, have the possibility that after Gottfried dies, you can marry someone else for a strong alliance, and while also making sure that if Matilda dies for some reason, you won't have a game over, continue on with someone from your own dynasty. Or do you pick this abandoned marriage one, which is a little bit riskier in terms of not having that alliance, probably not being able to form an alliance through your own marriage, but having these very significant benefits in terms of stewardship and domain taxes. And so, as difficult as the decision is, my general philosophy in playing these games is to play conservatively, just because that often will lead less punishing outcomes. There is a real risk here that if we do this one, we just fail. That we aren't able to really marry someone, we aren't able to get good alliances, we get attacked, and and the game all goes sideways. But the bonuses are truly nice. I've almost talked myself into, I think let's just take the risk. We're going to play tall for a while anyway. The benefits here are great. Let's do it. Now we are no longer really married to him. I always like to pin myself, my spouse, any children up here, myself and my spouse, so I can see at a glance our age and health, and our children to make sure that I'm educating them properly, instilling the correct personality traits where possible, having them learn languages, and so forth. For our lifestyle here, you'll see that Duchess Matilda is only 20 years old, yet she has an impossibly large number of learning lifestyle perks, 11, which there's no way you get 11 lifestyle perks in 4 years. So this is simply a benefit of playing Duchess Matilda. So there's some options here in terms of maximizing our going into theology. I believe Matilda always starts with these particular perks. I mean, I know she always starts with the theologian tree filled out, and I think these two as well, or at least 2 within the scholar tree. And so, the typical play here is to go scholarship focus for the development growth. I kind of wonder whether the piety and head of faith opinion might be more useful, especially if we're looking for claims. On the other hand, if we go down this tree far enough, we'll get sanctioned loopholes, we'll get claims ourselves. So I kind of think let's go with the standard, the scholarship focus. So let's see what we can do in terms of getting a marriage with our massive marriage penalty here. See if anyone will marry us. With inheritable traits, and the answer is no. Let's see what the best some of all skills we could get. Our own courtier here, who does have a decent stewardship, but not much else. I mean, really, you can see that the only people we can marry are our own courtiers. because of that massive marriage acceptance penalty. It's obviously not good. If we offer a grand wedding, things don't look much better. No one with any traits. So our options here would be to wait, see if we can become a queen, or otherwise improve the likelihood someone might marry us, or just sort of bite the bullet, marry this guy here, and go on. I think, again, we're going to marry him as our courtier, and we're just going to be building up our realm, hoping no one attacks us, and try to use our children to get some alliances. Now, because we're playing on very hard, we only get one major and one minor alliance. And at this point of the game, for all practical purposes, we only get one alliance, the major one. The minor one won't really help very much. And so for our children, one of them we will almost certainly need to use getting a good alliance. The others we'll probably use for our genetics program. So we will send that proposal. Oh crap, did I really do a grand wedding? That is terrible. That is not what I meant to do, unfortunately. Okay, well, again, we'll live with it, so that is what it is. That was a mistake. I should have unclicked that. That said, grand weddings do have some benefits, so maybe it will turn out to be a blessing in disguise, even though I did not intend to do it. But in terms of mistakes, there's already your first mistake before we have even unpaused the game. I want to make sure all the activities are pinned up here. That way I can see them. I won't forget about them. I'll know to take the activities when I want. Similarly, I want to pin important decisions here that I may want to take. We're good for there. I'll take a look at our courtiers, see if I can get them married. As we're playing on very hard, we aren't going to be able to bring in really powerful knights or other people through marriage. Indeed, the highest skill score we're going to see is 12. Said we do want to bring in even people that do have 12. They are decent knights. So I'd rather have them than not have them. I think we've already gotten married. We'll wait till all our courtiers come in, then make decisions about our court positions. So we do have household soldiers, which is very useful, makes our armies more powerful. Because we do not have hereditary rule, which is also important. The royal prerogative is good. I think we do start with a decent number of vassals, which means normally in a normal game of CK3, one of the things I would do at the beginning is go up to limited crown authority. But I think we want to take a little while, sort of butter up our vassals, see how they react, get their positive, get their opinion of us up higher before we start increasing our authority. Again, our vassals are much more likely to join factions and rebel against us as part of playing this most difficult rule set. And one of the things in particular is that whenever you increase the crown authority, they are very likely to form a liberty faction against you. Let's check out the tips here. So don't want to take either of those alliances now in case they block out a good future alliance. I mean, we could station our men-at-arms that we have here. Okay, mostly pikemen, which frankly is not very good. Because pikemen are countered by heavy infantry, and almost for all rulers, at least feudal rulers and clan rulers, I would say heavy infantry tends to form the backbone of the army. All right, let's see what we can do with this unintentional grand wedding. We could just... The other thing we can just do is just break it and see if he'll still marry us. Sure, it'll be some sort of... Jesus. Yep. All right. So again, important lesson to look at whether you have clicked Grand Wedding before you send anything that would actually cause you to be betrothed or otherwise in a grand wedding. So you can see here that we are 3 holdings above our domain limit. That's more than I would want, frankly. I think our long-term plan here is to really focus on Tuscany, our main duchy. The reason for that is that Tuscany, it only has 4 counties, I believe. No, it has 5, though one of them is in the Pope's realm. I don't really think it's... Okay, so we're probably not going to get it. So 4 counties for the practical purposes, but 2 of those have special buildings. Specifically, our capital of Florence has this very nice Duomo of Florence, gives taxes, development growth, and also can be upgraded to give a significant benefits over time. The other one is Siena. Doesn't have the special building built yet, but the University of Siena is incredibly powerful. One of the most powerful buildings in the game. When I do world conquest, paint the map, and I have my choice of any counties in the entire world, I almost always include Siena because of the power of that university. So we really want to hold on to these counties. Modena is there. It's close enough that we probably want to keep it as well. Let's look at some of these others. I sort of wish that you could see what the taxes that they give are without the penalties. I think let's give this one away. I often like giving titles to members of my dynasty. The reason being that your dynasty members you can get various bonuses with their opinion more easily through dynasty legacies, through artifacts and other things. So generally have good success with giving excess land to dynasty members. So that done, let's look again at the cost of a grand wedding if we don't modify anything. I think it was what, so 300. So let's wait a few months and we'll just do that. One of the things that is good about CK3 on this difficulty level, specifically the very hard rule, is that the AI gets more gold and also gets a discount on holding activities, which means they tend to hold a large number of activities that you can go to, which is all beneficial. So I should sort out my court positions here. So he's not very good. That's probably as good as we're going to get. I think at the moment that's all we need. As soon as we have children, definitely need tutor and wet nurse and a seneschal that we will put on organized court to improve all of them. I don't think at the moment we need anything else. I really want to save our gold as much as possible. Now we're just going to wait and get up to 300. We'll pay for our accidental grand wedding and move on. And again, the grand weddings, they do have renown. They have other benefits, so it's not like it's a complete waste of money. But at the same time, if I could make the decision again, I would not have the grand wedding. I would instead use these funds that I do have to start building buildings, which is very powerful. So our long-term strategy here with Matilda is like to get the Kingdom of Italy, probably through a combination of conquest and getting our legitimacy up a bit. You can see there it's easily doable. Could also help if we get a claim on a kingdom title somewhere else. Then we could also go claim that title, then take enough territory here, claim a second title. It does create some issues with inheritance, but we can do is, as long as we have the prestige, we can put a feudal elective law on one of those titles and keep it, and then vote for it to go to our main heir. Hopefully that works, and then our main heir will get both those king titles. And currently we're in Confederate partition, I believe, which obviously isn't great. So, if you've heard my prior games, I've talked about that. I generally don't think coronations are worth going to unless it's the coronation of your liege. There you can get some significant benefits. Like our husband, our caravan master, that's kind of risky. Particularly, I like doing advocate domain. We can get some development in particular, get more gold, more levies, all good stuff. We should also be thinking about who do we want to sway here, because they're not currently swaying anyone. Kaiser Heinrich's not a big fan of us. We will likely want to get the Pope's opinion of us as high as possible, especially if we're going to be relying on him to give us claims. Hopefully we won't have to do that. We'll be able to get the sanction loopholes perk down in the scholar tree, but you never know how things are going to develop. Let's hope we can cure them. We did. So now we'll be sitting here for a while. As soon as we get done with our liege's coronation, then we'll be holding our grand wedding. See if there's anyone who could be a good claim knight. What I'm looking for here is Blade Master, if it's available, would be good. I'm guessing no one has it. Or either Vanguard, which gives benefits to your heavy infantry, or Valiant. We have very few candidates. Before we get serious about conquest, we'll want to probably invite some knights, get some better options there. And one thing in terms of our overall sort of geopolitical situation is I talked a lot about when we played as the Duke of Bohemia. One of the benefits of Bohemia is that it's a small kingdom surrounded by much larger kingdoms. So if a scourge conqueror gets close to the Holy Roman Empire, that scourge conqueror is almost certainly going to attack Germany, Bavaria, Lotharingia before Bohemia. Italy obviously is a significantly larger kingdom than Bohemia, but it still seems like scourge conquerors generally focus on Germany, Bavaria, Lotharingia in preference to Italy. Our biggest concerns would be if Duke Robert down here, if he became a Scourge Conqueror. You can see he's already an exalted warlord. If he becomes a Scourge Conqueror and starts conquering up north and takes Italy, Romania, then there's really not much we're going to be able to do against him, and that's just unfortunate. The other concern is sometimes you get very powerful Muslim empires with Scourge Conquerors that will start conquering up Italy. So those are really our big concerns. I have a preset here, lets me look for conquerors. So the Ghaznavids, that guy starts with the conqueror trait. I'm less certain about these people. I think some of them. So that guy's far enough away, he's probably not a concern. This one though is a concern. See, he's up here in northwest Africa, so he could very easily start invading into Spain, potentially into France, and then across east into central Africa, and then possibly up Italy. So those are concerns. You need to keep an eye on them. So this first one certainly looks like the best argument, best option, I should say, and that's what we'll take. We converted some vassal in the Byzantine Empire to Catholicism, so good luck with that. Here is what I talked about earlier, 80 development growth in all our domain counties, very good. You could also do that for popular opinion, but I would certainly rather have the development growth. If he gives it to us, and he did, so great. So here, don't really care about the magnificence of Kaiser Heinrich's coronation. This one has some benefits, but again, we're going to do a lot of building, so prayer for wealth, really what we want here. This guy, I think I'd rather do the bottom one, come closer to forming a friendship with the Pope. One thing that you'll come to see is that getting money from the Pope is extraordinarily difficult. On the other hand, he is more willing to give you claims. That is to say, he's more willing to give you claims in gold by a fair margin here. Speaking of claims, do we want to claim on Hungary? I don't know. One of the things that's important that shapes our strategy is playing on the hardest possible rule set is we're playing with total exclave independence. What that means is that on succession, any land that is not connected to the territory that houses our capital, either connected by land or sea, will become independent upon our deaths. So that means if we held the Kingdom of Hungary, didn't find a way to get Hungary to get access to the sea, when we died, we'd lose all the land in Hungary. All the vassals become independent, and so we really want to look to conquer kingdoms that are either very close to us. I say kingdoms, territories generally that are very close to us, or that are on the coast, because obviously our territory here, we have some coastal territories, and so we'll be able to connect by sea to anyone who's on the coast, but that does not include Hungary, which obviously is landlocked. But it's interesting, something to keep in mind. I generally don't want to give my liege hooks on me, so we'll just do the bottom, even though that gold would have been nice. I'll take the prestige. So one of Kaiser Heinrich's major detractors is the Pope. I want to keep in the Pope's good graces, so I don't want to cry out my oath under devotion. I think I will simply kneel here and avoid annoying either my liege or the Pope. Go through these events. Looks like he took the Ensure Peace oath, also my favorite oath. So we can have this guy be our friend. The moment he seems to be doing quite poorly in a war. I think I would just rather have the prestige. So this is another special event for Matilda. We can become a witch and an herbalist. Also automatically changes our focus. I don't know that we want to be intrigue focused for a particularly long period of time. I'd rather be learning to get to sanction loopholes, but yeah, the option of declining it. Now there are some nice benefits here as well, particularly the learning. Also, you know, you can get a secret. Talked before, but I really don't like secrets. But I think the benefits here are just sufficiently strong that we're going to take that decision. We get, you know, 5 more lifestyle perks. That's just very powerful. So I think the lifestyle perks I want are Dark Insights, Divine Retribution. So if we capture people, we can torture them and increase our intrigue. Then also in Schemer here, Truth is Relative, Swift Execution, and a Job Done Right. You see a Job Done Right gives bonuses to hostile scheme success chance. That's particularly important. So we're playing on very hard, which I believe has like a minus 50% for the player's hostile scheme success chance. So we will take those 2, 3, 5, whatever. Move on. You know, almost certainly when we can change our focus here, 5 years from now, we'll change it back to learning. You know, the other good thing about witchcraft is you can form a witch coven. Requires you to have I think it's what, 40%. I thought there was a requirement here. I'm not seeing it. It requires like 40% of your house members to be witches, which is very difficult to get later in the game when you already have a large house. But here, you know, as soon as we get 4 adult members of our house, you know, currently there's just us. As soon as you get 4 adult members with our husband, then, you know, we will be able to form a witch coven, which has its own benefits. It's quite good. So this is an interesting one, man. Huh. I mean, with the hook, I could get a claim on a powerful kingdom. Not sure what I want that to be at the moment. I think I will take the hook, actually. See, you got, you know, Heinrich got fairly high magnificence, even though his detractors are more than double his supporters. But I think it would be he would consider that to be a successful anointment. We'll take scientific to increase our research speed. You know, getting through the innovations and being as advanced as we possibly can technologically, incredibly important. One of the things I will want to do is try to hybridize as soon as I can. Possibly either Swabian or Bavarian. Swabian has industrious, which is a very powerful cultural tradition. Italians traditions I'm not a huge fan of, really. I mean, they're fine, but not the ones I would necessarily want to pick. We could try to come down here possibly and get some of these Greek territories and hybridize with them. Though, unsurprisingly, the Greek culture really works best when you are in the Byzantine Empire. Take a quick look at some of these scourge conquerors to see what they're doing. Okay. Now, let's have our wedding. Just want to make sure abandoned marriage was showing up there. So again, we'll just leave all these as they are. Don't necessarily spend too much gold on this. And let's look at what we can build here. Again, we really want to focus on Florence and Siena as the key two buildings, the key two counties, because that's really where we expect our power base to be, and we're hoping to hold on to these two counties really for the entirety of the game. If we lose some of these others in succession, or need to give them away to get closer to domain limit holding, that's fine. But we really want to keep Florence and Siena, and since we're keeping them, want to make sure that they're first on the list whenever we build anything. Wonder who we could get some diplomacy on. I mean, Pope sounds like a good idea, so let's see what we can do with him. I think let's just be conservative, stick with the bottom option. The other two do not have great options. Here we will do this one, Confident Bride. That's good. There are significant benefits in terms of keeping stress low. We almost certainly do the top option to avoid stress. Get opinion with Pope Alexander. Obviously going to say I do, so this is one of the benefits of a grand wedding. We get this renown, get some more piety, get this benefit, so all good stuff there. For our dynasty legacies, having your characters have genetic traits, particularly intelligent and genius, just makes a gigantic difference in how powerful they are. Again, genius in particular is worth 25 skill points, gives you lifestyle experience faster. I think it also increases your development, just an incredibly powerful trait, and we really want to build up our dynasty toward getting that. So I almost always get these first three in the blood tree and then start looking at other things. So I think I want to be friends with my husband here, and so we'll take that one. I think I'd rather have the martial. I mean, 500 martial versus 100 intrigue. If there was the same amount, probably go with intrigue, since that's currently what we're doing, but I'd rather have 500 martial experience. Hmm. I think we'll try this one, hope for the intrigue point, but didn't work. Okay, certainly want the Pope to become my friend, so that was an easy choice there. See here, even though he is my friend, he's not going to give me gold. If I had a higher level of devotion, I think he would actually give me gold. Because we're friends. And I could also use my hook on him, but don't think I'm that hard up for gold at the moment. We'll keep an eye on here. If he looks like the Pope's about to die, or if we need, or if our hook is about to expire, then we'll use it for something. Getting gold from it, if nothing else. Oof. I don't want this in particular. I think I will. I mean, you could argue this will help with succession, since we won't have that many children, but I don't know that that's the greatest idea. I think we'll go with the top one instead. Well, unfortunate for him, but now we'll produce many offspring, which I think will be the stronger decision in the long run. I think let's try the middle one here. I mean, he has 100 opinion of us, so if he loses a little bit of opinion, it doesn't really matter. Let's just do the bottom one, since it's a guarantee. We are almost certainly going to do the top one. So I did manage to turn on the nudity filter, so yay me. And we do get a lot of prestige, get a little bit of gold, get some legitimacy, get these other benefits. So it makes some sense to do the grand wedding. It says I failed my intent at diplomacy, yet I became friends with the Pope, which was my intent. So I'm not sure that I consider myself to have failed, but okay. So here, we're building in Siena. Cattle pastures aren't really my favorite thing. They did get buffed a bit recently to go up to, it used to be 0.25 a month, now 0.35. When I say recently, it may have been a while back. But originally they were, were even worse than they are now. I think let's go ahead and build it. Now we're likely just going to chill for a while. Guess we can romance our husband here. We'll do that, then go back to swaying Kaiser Heinrich. Okay. Probably first of many children. See, Lombardy is quite weak. In fact, I'm surprised they're that weak. I really don't want the negative penalty to development growth, so we'll do this top one. Okay, just peasants. I think we'll be fine. faithful. I guess I could have looked at his stats to see if that was, if he had really good, genetic traits. If someone's, a genius and is trying to seduce me, then, maybe I do want to be seduced and get those genetic traits into our dynasty's bloodline. So now just sort of chilling, taking things easy. Want to see how much gold we can make and build up our domain and realm here. Hopefully we will get some activities to go to. We'll just take this, no gold, 100% chance of success. Clearly the best option, I think. Okay, so I guess we'll name her after me. That's fine. Now that we have a daughter, you can see we can get some useful alliances here now. He's currently attacking Byzantine, so don't really want to ally with him right now. He's also relatively old, but he's also robust. He tends to live for a while. But I'm not sure with the introduction of elder traits how long he lives for. And we don't need to marry our daughter at the moment. We can keep her, see if we have other daughters. There's obviously a risk of having our first daughter be patrilineally married to someone. That could result in the game over if we don't eventually have a son or the ability to change to a different daughter. So we just hold on. Ideally, we have more children and can use a second daughter for alliances, or you have a son, in which case using our first daughter for alliances becomes less risky. Sort of think here we'll stick with our current intrigue focus and go with temporary intrigue boost. I think let's get some armored footmen just so we are able to more easily handle any peasants. Okay, that's a bit unfortunate. Speaking of alliances, I assume now no one will join us. Yep, okay. So you have a bunch of mercenaries or allies or something. Try to attack that relatively small force here as soon as we can. We're not going to catch it. Chase it, will we catch it? Yes, good. It's unfortunate, of course, but we'll just have to deal with these two. Soon as so misclick there. Is this the last of the peasants? Looks like it is. It's not going to be an easy battle, unfortunately. Don't want to go to anyone else's coronation at the moment. I'm trying to prevent Lombardy from encroaching on my realm. This guy is not... I guess I could torture him, right? Indeed. So, got some intrigue. He's not a very good kid. Often these peasant leaders are, have good prowess. They can be good knights, but doesn't seem to be true for him. I'm not sure here that we win this. The AI really thinks we will. We'll see. Yeah, this is not looking good, unfortunately. What are we even fighting over? Oh, we're fighting over a couple counties. Obviously not great. We'll refill our armies here and try to regroup. He's sieging surprisingly quickly. I don't want to attack over the bridge, the river. Have to see if this works. It's knife's edge here. Looks like we will win. So that's good. Hopefully we sit here, regenerate our forces, particularly get the heavy infantry up to full strength. And so one of the issues on playing this level of difficulty, particularly the very hard difficulty, is that the AI is much more aggressive. We'll just take the coin flip here. Didn't succeed. I'm guessing that means, okay, it does mean that this guy has become a scourge conqueror. Yep, he's already become a quite large scourge conqueror. Reduce Poland to a one tiny realm. You can see here he's going for Germany, which is as expected. So it could be that the power of the HRE is going to be significantly reduced here. That might give us opportunities to declare independence. Just have to see over time what our best course of action here is. Let's see, we're at 39%, so he could presumably get him to white peace. Let's see how much gold. 415 is, that's a decent chunk of gold. So maybe it's worth staying in this war and seeing if we can actually win it. If he has allies show up, like the Duke of Meissen, then we will probably just white peace out of it. So one of the big disadvantages of being a woman is you can't participate in many of the grand tournament events. I think it's just wit, the recital, board game, and then also horse racing. So we will pass on going to that grand tournament. If we were a male character, We almost always would go to grand tournaments because they're very powerful. And I think let's try to talk up Pope Alexander. I did not succeed, unfortunately. Yeah, Lutetia's already. Leticia, again, I'm terrible at pronunciations. I apologize in advance, but you can see they already have taken Germany. So really hurting the Holy Roman Empire. And speaking of things that will hurt, see that King Robert here is a scourge conqueror as well. He's in a number of battles, a number of wars, I should say. But yeah, so this is not good. It's quite unfortunate, really. May want to have this independence faction at least sort of growing so that we can fire it when we need to. It does look like Messin just joined the war. I think he's usually, well, he's not that powerful actually. Right, we'll continue on here. I would like to win this war and get all that gold, but I just don't know whether it's going to happen. Unfortunate, we should have tortured that guy first. And it was stupid attack over the river. I should not have done that. Oh, I guess it didn't matter that I was attacking over the river. Alright, we're just going to white piece out of this. Yeah, this is this is bad. Being squeezed on potentially two sides. If you're Matilda, you really don't want Robert, to hot bill down here to become a scourge conqueror, because next place he's going to start looking is the Kingdom of Romania, and that's where a good chunk of our vassals are. Not any of our domain territory, but obviously it would still really hurt to lose all that. But that's probably what's going to happen, frankly. I assume that's attacking the Scourge Conqueror, or where is it even attacking? Up there? I don't even know why. I just don't want to lose all the gold. Say we're ready to fight, but realistically, probably not going to do anything. Okay. So if I were independent, what I would likely do is form an alliance with King Robert here. Let's look at our daughters. I guess that's not an option. Wait, yes. Okay, so yes. So it is an option to form an alliance with them. The issue is, so forming an alliance with a Scourge Conqueror means that they will not attack you. But they also will never come help you either. So it's really just to prevent the Scourge Conqueror from taking over all your lands. The problem is, because I'm not independent, I don't think me having an alliance with him will prevent him from attacking the Holy Roman Empire, taking the Holy Roman Empire's lands, which of course would include my lands. So I don't think there's a real reason to form that alliance. This guy is a county whose military strength is really inflated by all those mercenaries. That's an interesting looking one. Okay, I assume he's up in England somewhere. Maybe not. Alright, so I don't know if there are any great alliances at the moment. I continue on here to collect gold. I think we'll make her stewardship focused. Also, want a good tutor. Want a wet nurse. Seneschal here. Organize the court. Children. Still virtue. Try to give our daughters good education. This is looking like a very challenging run already. There's a real risk that we lose most or even all of our lands. Don't know there's much we can do about it. I'm about at the point where I can go back to just a few days away, so I can change my education focus. Again, I think we're better off going down the scholarship tree here. It's one of the most powerful trees in terms of any lifestyle. So, and obviously we have an education focused character, so we get more lifestyle experience, learning experience. So looks like, yep, I thought he was taking a county from the Pope, but maybe not. Yep. All right. Yep. Okay. So yeah, this is very unsurprising. We're going to lose all this, all this territory. It's going to hurt our monthly income. But I don't think there's much to be done about it. Heinrich just getting attacked by everybody now. Again, we would really like to hold on to the Duchy of Tuscany. It's not at immediate risk of losing it, but the risk later on. Okay, we're going to have our counties invaded and occupied, sieged. The last decision was to avoid stress. Guess let's keep building buildings. Like more gold, so let's go with hospices. Also give some piety. And this is really the challenge of playing on this level of difficulty is you're not in control of your fate, really. On a regular game of CK3, on normal rule settings, you can quickly become very powerful. You can get several alliances if you want, and go start conquering kingdoms or whatever else you want to do. So long as you get the claims, and again, you can often get the claims from the Pope or through sanctioned loopholes, or maybe you start with them. And so it's very easy to become powerful very quickly and just snowball from there. Here you're really not in control of your own fate. Instead, the scourge conquerors control your fate. They control whether you have land. They can control where you can expand. They can control who you want to have as your liege. They can control if you need to become a tributary for one of them. And so that's really, instead of you being the main focus of a CK3 campaign, it's early on in particular, it's really the Scourge Conquerors who are the main focus, and you're simply a bit player who has to adjust to what they are doing. And that is certainly where we find ourselves now. So we lost, looks like 1.2 monthly income. For some reason, my Kaiser is attacking other people, even though he is in, I would say, relatively tough straits. Don't really want to spend gold on this. I actually think this may be the best option, just the least amount of stress. It doesn't spend gold. You should at least get a lifestyle perk here. Yeah, we're not powerful enough. So this is sort of the worst situation in the game, especially early on, where if you're a vassal, where you're not powerful enough to take on any scourge conquerors, and you're also not powerful enough to break free from your liege, and you're just kind of stuck here. So they want to educate our firstborn son here, presumptive heir. So we're simply going to have to see how things develop. It does look like Lutetia conquered Hungary. You can see at the same time, it's like Poland and part of Germany broke free. So it is something that sometimes it happens when you have a scourge conqueror who's a different religion and unreformed faith and tries to conquer a bunch of Catholic lands. Is, even though we're on very hard and AI vassals are more obedient to AI rulers, the malice from trying to rule Catholics as an unreformed faith can still be enough that you get these rebellions, and the Scourge Conqueror ends up in this sort of constant seesaw battle where they conquer some more land, then it rebels, they have to conquer it again, and so forth. For this, this guy, it doesn't really have any special reasons why I would want to be seduced by him, so I will decline. So we'll torture this guy for some dark insights, if any. Then we will ransom him. So yet another challenge of playing on very hard is that the amount of gold you get for ransoms is just a quarter of what you get on normal. I guess what we could do here is actually make some use of our intrigue skill and see if we can fabricate some hooks on Heinrich's most powerful vassals, and ideally get them, pull them into our faction so we can have them rebel against him. We'll change, see if we can get the best spy master we can get. I guess this is basically it. Switch her to supporting our schemes. We'll try to fabricate a hook. See if we can auto-invite any agents. Okay, so you can see here it's just going to be very difficult. Yep. So we could also try to find secrets. That's the other thing we could try doing in some of the other powerful vassals' realms. Meantime, I guess we'll continue to build our buildings in the hopes that we can hold on to them. Going over the Alps is very dangerous, so we'll get some mountaineers. I do just want to go this hunt. Can we befriend him? See if we can. Maybe that will make it more likely that he joins our faction, our independence faction, so we can break free of the Holy Roman Empire. Take the gold. With that, either become a tributary to Sicily or even become his, could become an ally to him still. Again, he won't ever help us, but it would prevent him from attacking us. Okay. Bunch of starving crusaders going up to Prussia. Guessing that's not ideal, really. I assume one of these bottom two is the best. Okay. doing terribly. Really rough days for the Holy Roman Empire. An entrenched regent? No. Oh, wait. No, still no. Okay. It is the... Yeah, they're pretty deep in debt, so they can't... They won't really be able to attack us for quite a while if we declare... Try to declare independence. Wait. Why can't we form a real alliance? Huh. Oh, okay, because we're considered to be at war. Never mind. So I was confused there for a bit. Is it did not seem like the game was allowing us to form an alliance with any foreign power. You know, that is to say, alliance with someone that we could call into our wars. And that was unusual because we don't have any alliances at the moment. But the reason why is we're counted as being part of this crusade. That crusade is now over. Catholic Church was beaten by a 5-year-old girl. So we're really going poorly here, I think, for Christendom in this game. Just not making a good showing of anything, really. I have my choice of kingdoms in Iberia that I could claim. Not sure why saying, you know, I need a designated guardian for her. I mean, the tutor should take over if no one else is designated as guardian, so not quite sure why that's happening, but I will designate a guardian. So what am I thinking of doing here? So you know, now would be a relatively good time to strike for independence if we wanted to, if we could. Right, so I want to look at getting a powerful ally. You know, the issue is I would want the ally to be outside the Holy Roman Empire, so that if I declared independence, they would be able to, fight me, fight with me without any issues if I get someone within the Holy Roman Empire. Then it'll probably end up with a situation where they won't be able to join me because they're a vassal of the HRE. So just looking around here to see who the most powerful army I can get would be. His army isn't bad. It's not too old. Can I get a matrilineal marriage? Probably not, but let's see. Soon will be even worse here. Yep. All right. I assume I will not be able to get any other meaningful alliances. No. So what I want to do here is I'm very concerned that Sicily here, Robert the Fox is a scourge conqueror. I'm concerned that whenever his truce is up with the Holy Roman Empire in 3 years, he is going to take the Kingdom of Italy, including all of my lands in Tuscany. I guess if that happened, I would then be stuck holding a single county over here. In the one county in my realm that currently is not in the Kingdom of Italy. And that would not be very good. Maybe we could try to conquer the rest of Corsica and Sardinia here, but again, we'd really rather want to hold on to Florence and Siena. And so I want to get independent of the HRE, and then we'll do something with Sicily here. Could be a tributary, could be a vassal, work from the inside. The problem with that is at the moment he is only a king, so we would not be able to become kings or queens ourselves. You talk about our original plan being to see if we could become the Queen of Italy. Lutetia up here is still a concern, though again I'm guessing this guy's going to ping pong back and forth between conquering Catholic territory and rebellions. Let's see what other conquerors are around. Ghaznavids are far away. The Carlots I think are also far away. Don't need to worry about them. Almoravids are closer. I have a quite young scourge conqueror, so that's a concern. Though strangely, it looks like he's mostly conquering Africa. That guy is conquering Arabia. There's a guy from Lutetia. I assume this guy is far away. Okay. I assume for our faction strength it doesn't include our ally, unfortunately. I think let's just go for it, make him raise his armies. Hopefully that will cause him to stay at negative gold. With our allies, we can do something. See what his forces look like. He has a lot of armored footmen, a lot of pikemen. Alright, so this is risky, but I think the other risk, which is Sicily conquering all our territory and being a one county ruler, is even worse. So guess let's negotiate an alliance with her as well. She's wait till our allies get here before raising our armies. Hopefully they're on their way. Okay. Great, so he has gold now. Okay, well, so this is probably going to turn out disastrously. Just have to see. Fine to have him give a hook on me. He's unlanded. Don't really think there's much he's going to be able to do with it. Stop. I don't think that scheme really matters much anymore. Would like to catch Kaiser Heinrich's allies over here. I think we're too far away, unfortunately. Yep, no. Don't want to take attrition damage. Let's instead just go attack Kaiser Heinrich and really need to unsiege here. As soon as we're going to unsiege, we'll come down and attack this army. Really need to do that before Kaiser Heinrich joins up with them. Too late. Make our son a stewardship character. Hopefully he'll be able to construct lots of buildings and put our realm on a solid foundation. Okay, just see how this goes. Man, he has another ally. This is not good. Attacking him across the river, probably also not good. I do think our ally is going to come here and be able to turn the tide of this battle. Peasant rabble. And we can keep them divided. We catch him, yes. Okay, that's all good. Our second son here. Also want to make him our ward. Should win another big battle here. Maybe we can siege this city down fast enough. It'll give us enough siege score to declare our independence. Oh. Okay, we're getting close though. Maybe we win one more battle, that'll do it. Okay. We will now declare our independence. Kaiser Heinrich. Thanks to our critical allies, disband our army. I think with that, we will call the episode. Obviously, the main question for next time is exactly how do we want to handle Sicily? We want to be their tributary, we want to be their vassal, do something different. All options, and we'll consider them at the beginning of next episode. Thanks very much for watching this one. I hope you join me in the future. Thanks. Bye.